Very good morning, dear students. This video is for class 10 subject science chapter number 5, that is periodic classification of elements, and this is lecture number 4. In the previous lecture, that means lecture number 3, we have studied about the outlines of modern periodic table, that how modern periodic table came into light and how it removed all the defects that were there in the Mendeleev's periodic table. So today's lecture is dedicated to the position of the elements in the periodic table and the characteristics of modern periodic table. So today we will see how to find the group of a given element and how to find the period of a given element. That means how to decide the position of the given element, that in which group or in which period that element is placed in the periodic table. The second important topic that we have to do today is characteristics of modern periodic table. Although we have studied the outlines of modern periodic table, but what are the real elements which are present in the modern periodic table as groups and elements? Let us begin with the first topic, that is position of an element in groups and periods. So let us revise the things we have studied about the groups and the periods in the last lecture. So group, we know the vertical column present in the modern periodic table is called group. And what are the characteristics of a group? That valence electrons are same for all the elements. The valence electrons will be same in number. Second, there is only increase in the shell number as we go down in a group. Chemically similar atoms or elements are placed in the same group, or they are provided the same group number. That means group number is always equal to the valence electrons, number of valence electrons. And what were the characteristics of period? The horizontal rows present in the periodic table are called periods. We have 7 periods in total. And what is special about the periods? That the number of shells are same. Only the number of electrons in the shells are increasing as we go from left to right in a period. And why it is happening? Because atomic number is increasing, on which the modern periodic table is based. Because modern periodic law says that atomic number is the more fundamental property and it can better govern the properties of an element. That is why in the modern periodic table, the elements were placed according to the increasing atomic numbers. So as we go in a period from left to right, the atomic number increases, and hence the addition of electrons in the same shell increases. That means period number will be equal to the number of shells present in the electronic configuration of the element. Let us see how. So how to determine the position of an element in the periodic table? The position of an element is determined by the electronic configuration of the element, as the elements are placed according to the increasing atomic number. Atomic number, that is the number of protons present in the atom, and the number of valence electrons gives us the number of group in which the element is present, as we have seen while studying the characteristics of groups and periods. So we have seen that the number of valence electron is equal to the number of group. So from here we will get the group number, and the number of shells in the electronic configuration gives the number of period in which the element is present, because the number of shells are equal to the number of period in which the element is present. For example, if we take sodium, so we know sodium is having an atomic number 11. So its electronic configuration will be 2, 8 and 1. So here you can see that in the last shell we have one electron. That means one valence electron is there with the sodium. And this one, because the number of valence electron is always equal to the number of group. That means sodium is placed in the group 1. And as we can see in the electronic configuration of sodium that there are 3 shells present, 2, 8 and 1. So here number of shells are 3. That means sodium is placed in the 3rd period of the modern periodic table. So that is how we calculate or we determine the position of an element, that in which group or in which period that element is present in the modern periodic table. But you can find out one relation, that when the valence electrons are 1, 2, 3, 4, that time you can determine the group number. But what if the valence electrons are more than 2? Or you can say 5, 6, 7. So till 7 we can have the valence electrons, but the groups which are present in the modern periodic table are 18 in number. So what is the relation between the valence electrons and the groups of the modern periodic table? So you have to follow one rule, that for the valence electrons of number 1 and 2, if the valence electrons are either 1 or 2, then you have to just see that the number of valence electron is equal to the number of group. Or if the number of valence electron is higher than 2, then always add 10 to the valence electrons, and that will give you the group number. For example, suppose we have chlorine. Chlorine is having atomic number 17. So its electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 7. So what we have to do? We have to see the electrons in the last shell. These are 7 in number. So we have to add 10 to it. And this will give us a value 17. That means chlorine is present in the 17th group of periodic table. From here itself you can identify the number of period also. As it is having 3 shells, so it will be in the 3rd period of the periodic table. So this is how we can decide or we can identify the position of an element in the periodic table. So if you are asked to determine the number of group or number of period of a given element, then you can easily find out this way. Before telling you the characteristics of modern periodic table, let me show you a rough sketch of the modern periodic table, that how modern periodic table looks like and which kind of elements are present. Now here we have a blank graph, or you can say blank sketch of modern periodic table. First I'll tell you that which kind of elements are placed where, then we will study that what these particular type of elements are and why they are called so. Then we will fill this blank sketch after knowing all the elements. So let us begin with the rough sketch. So here you can see that the vertical columns are called groups. So we have 1 to 18. Total 18 groups we have. But here first, second, 3rd to 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. These groups I am showing to you. And this cluster I have taken together. I'll be telling you why I have taken these elements together. But in the first group, all the elements with the similar chemical properties, or you can say similar properties, are grouped in the group 1 or any group. But we know that the number of valence electrons are equal to the number of group present. So, all the elements which are present in the group 1 will always have the valence electron as 1. Although as we go from up to down in a group, then the atomic number increases, so the cells will also increase. But the electronic configuration will remain the same. That means the valence electrons will always remain the same. The second term is periods. The horizontal rows in the periodic table are called periods. We have total 7 periods, and as we go from left to right in a period, then atomic number increases sequentially. That means in a series it increases. For example, here we will have the element which is having atomic number 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 and 18. So this way we'll be filling up the modern periodic table with the number of elements. Then we have to see that the left portion is generally considered as the metals. That means metals are placed in the extreme left of the modern periodic table, and non-metals are placed here at the right side of the modern periodic table. And at the extreme right, or in the 18th group, we have noble gases. Then from group 13 to 12, we are having transition elements. I'll be telling you that what are transition elements, but at the time of classifying modern periodic table into different parts, I told you that transition elements, or you can say group 3 to 12, that is the middle portion of the modern periodic table, is consisting of 2 types of elements. The main category is transition elements, under which transition elements and inner transition elements comes. So this portion which is shown under the modern periodic table is the inner transition elements. So we have metals, non-metals, noble gases, inner transition elements, and here we will have some metalloids. As I told you, or as I have shown you also in the NCERT book, let me show you this thing again. I hope now you will be able to understand and correlate the diagram which I have made as a rough sketch with this. So here you can see that we have the vertical columns as 18 in number, the horizontal rows as periods. We have total 7 periods, and we have metals this side, where these are the different kinds of metal, whereas from group 13 to 12 we have transition elements. This side we have non-metals, and these are the elements which are called metalloids. That means they show the properties of both as a metal as well as a non-metal. And in the 18th group we have noble gases, and this separate part which is given below the periodic table is a part of periodic table. As you can see that in the periodic table, in the 3rd group and 6th period, we have lanthanum. Lanthanum is having atomic number 57. So as we know that the same property elements are placed in the same group. So when the discovery of lanthanum took place, after the discovery of lanthanum, 14 more elements were found, and it was found that these 14 elements are having similar properties as lanthanum. So they should be placed here only, but as this will extend the size of the periodic table. So just to make it convenient to draw the periodic table, they are separated out, and one series of those 14 elements was created, and that series is called lanthanoids. But lanthanum is not the part of lanthanoids. Here the lanthanoids, they are starting from the atomic number 58. The element's name is cerium, and it ends up at 71 atomic number, which is lithium. Then as we go down in the same group number 3, period number 7, atomic number 89, actinum was the element. After which again 14 elements were there, which were found to have the similar properties as actinum is having. And that is why the same thing happened, that they were placed below the lanthanoids, and the new series formed, which was called actinoids. But actinum is not the part of actinoids. Remember this thing, that lanthanum and actinum are not the part of lanthanoids and actinoid series. So here you have to remember that in both the series, lanthanoids and actinoids, we have 14 elements. So this way we have 28 elements in this block. Further we will see that we have divided this periodic table into some parts or some blocks. Now let us study about each type of element which is there in the periodic table. Now let us see the types of elements. So the first type of element is the main group elements. And these are the elements which are present in the group 1, 2 and group number 13 to group number 17. Why these are called main group elements? Because they are the representative elements of the periodic table. Representative because here they have some definite character. Either they are metals, non-metals, or and that is why they are called main group elements, because they represent the periodic table, that they are having metals, non-metals and metalloids. So in the main group element we have 1 and 2 group. So in group 1 we will be having alkali metals. In group 2 we will be having alkaline earth metals. From group number 13 to 17, group 1 and 2 are present at the extreme left of the periodic table, whereas the group 13 to 17 are placed at the right side of the periodic table. All these elements have incomplete outer shells. That means the outermost shell has less than 8 electrons. The next is noble gases. Group number 18 is having noble gases, which is there at the extreme right of the modern periodic table. And why they are called noble gases? Because their electronic configuration is fulfilled, or you can say the outermost shell is filled, completely filled, and that is why they are not interested in having any kind of reaction with any other element or some compound. The third type of elements are transition elements. The middle block of the periodic table, that is having group number 3 to 12 elements, are called transition elements. The two outermost shells are incomplete, and the elements, they represent the transition or change from the most electropositive element to most electronegative element, and that is why they are called transition elements. Some more features of transition elements are that they are all metals, have high melting and boiling points, are good conductors of heat and electricity. Some of the elements like iron are attracted by the magnets. They are used as the catalyst. Most of the transition elements are used as the catalyst. And one important feature of them is they are having variable valencies. Fourth type of elements present in the modern periodic table are inner transition elements. These are also called rare earth elements and they are placed in the lower portion of the periodic table in a separate portion. From the atomic number 58 to 71, the series is called lanthanoids because they were found after the discovery of lanthanum and they are having similar properties as lanthanum. That is why they are called lanthanoids. And the elements start from cerium to lutetium. Then atomic number 90 to 103 is called actinoids. Why? Because actinum, which is having atomic number 89, is the element of group number 3, period number 7. And after this discovery of actinum, these 14 elements were discovered which are having similar properties as actinum. And that is why they were also taken in the different series which is separated from the modern periodic table and placed below the periodic table. And the elements are from thorium to lawrencium. And what is interesting about the inner transition elements? That 3 outermost shells are incomplete. Fifth type of elements are metals. Metals, they are placed extreme left of the periodic table in group number 1 and 2. In group number 1, alkali metals, or you can say strong metals, which are lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, francium are present. So as they are in the group 1, they will be having similar properties because of their electronic configuration. And what is so special about their electronic configuration? That they all have the same valence electrons in their outermost shell. In the group number 2, we have alkaline earth metals. Alkaline earth metals includes beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium and radium. Group 1 metals, which are called alkali metals. Why they are called alkali metals? Because the hydroxides of these metals are very reactive. That is why. Or you can say the hydroxides of these metals are alkalis. So these metals are called alkali metals. Important features of alkali metals are that as they are very reactive, they are soft, light and easily fusible. Easily fusible means they are very much reactive. They even react with the atmospheric air. And that is why most of these elements are kept under the kerosene so that the intermediate layer can be formed, or there can be a prevention method that they do not react with the atmosphere. For example, sodium, which is a highly reactive material, so that is kept under kerosene so that it cannot react with the air. Let us take the example of the first group metals, which are alkali metals. For example, we have taken the 3 from them: lithium, sodium and potassium. They are having electronic configuration 3, 11 and 19 respectively. So accordingly, their electronic configuration will be 2, 1, 2, 8, 1, 2, 8, 8, 1. So you can see here that all the 3 members of the group are having valency as 1. So they are all having similar properties because the valence electrons decide or they determine the properties of the element. Then the formation of oxides by these metals will be in the same form. Like you can see here that we are having a general formula R2O, where R is the alkali metal and O is the oxide. So they are having a general formula for forming the oxide, Li2O, Na2O, K2O. And the same way they are forming their hydroxides, ROH. General formula is ROH. For example, lithium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. So this is how the metals they react and they form compounds in the similar way. Now you must be thinking that how we can write Li2O. The valencies can be represented as, suppose we have R and O, then A, B I am writing here. Then how to write these A and B? Let us see it with the help of an example. To understand this, as we know that the aluminium oxide is given by this formula, Al2O3, and we know that aluminium is having atomic number 13, whereas oxygen is having atomic number 8. So accordingly, the electronic configuration of aluminium will be 2, 8 and 3, for oxygen 2, 6. So the valency of aluminium is plus 3 and valency of oxygen is minus 2. So while making the compound of aluminium and oxide, what happens? The valencies of the elements are cross multiplied with the elements. How? That we are having oxygen and aluminium, their valencies are plus 3 and minus 2. So we will cross multiply the valencies of both. Oxygen will take 3 and aluminium will take 2, not with these signs, remember, and they will be written as Al2O3. You can have another example like Na2O, where Na is having atomic number 11, so electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 1. For oxygen we have 8 number of atomic numbers and the electronic configuration will be 2, 6. So for this Na we have plus 1 valency and for oxygen we have a valency of minus 2. So when these two elements, these two atoms combine together, what will happen to their valencies? They will cross multiply their valencies. Na2O will be formed. So this is how you can write the formula for a compound. Now let us see the next element. Then the next type of elements are non-metals. They are present at the right of the periodic table and they start from the group number 13 and till group number 17 we have non-metals. In group number 17, as we have talked about the group number 18 was having the noble gases. Group number 17 is having halogens, which are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and adenine. They are called halogens because they are the salt producers. They react and they produce salt in most of the reactions. That is why they are called halogens. Among all the halogens, only bromine is liquid non-metal and only iodine undergoes sublimation. Sublimation means when you heat up a material and without converting into liquid phase, it directly converts from solid to vapor phase. Then this is called sublimation. So this iodine undergoes the sublimation process, whereas bromine is the only liquid non-metal. Group number 16 is called chalcogens. Chalcogens means ores or the elements having the capability to combine with another elements and to form their ores, metallic ores. So these are non-metals, so they will form metallic ores from which metals can be extracted after some treatment. So in the chalcogen family we have oxygen, sulfur, selenium, tellurium and polonium. So these are chalcogen family. In group number 15, as nitrogen is the first element of this group, so nitrogen is the one that represents this complete group, and that is why this is called nitrogen family, under which nitrogen, phosphorus, antimony, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. So these are the nitrogen family members. Then we have group number 14, that is known as carbon family. In carbon family we have carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. In group number 13 we have boron family. Boron family is having boron, aluminium, gallium, indium and thallium. So these are all non-metals which are having 5 groups in total from 13 to 17, and the families are boron family, carbon family, nitrogen family, chalcogens and halogens. Then another type of materials, elements are present, are called metalloids. Metalloids, why they are called metalloids? Because they show mixed properties of both the metals and non-metals. They are placed in between the transition elements and the non-metals. Now, after knowing about all the types of elements which are there in the modern periodic table, we can fill the elements of our interest, as in the 10th class level, we have to know not about all the elements of the periodic table. We have to know about the elements till calcium, because they are more important to us. So let us try to fill the groups that we have studied now. So in group number 1 we have hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, then rubidium, cesium and francium. This group number 1 is known as alkali metals. In the group number 2 we have beryllium, magnesium, calcium, then we have strontium, barium and radium. Then in the noble gases we have helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. In group number 17 we have halogens, which are fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine and astatine, which is written as As. In group number 16 we were having chalcogens, which are starting from the oxygen, sulfur, then we have selenium, tellurium and polonium. Then we have nitrogen family, nitrogen, phosphorus, arsenic, antimony and bismuth. Then in the carbon family we have carbon, silicon, germanium, tin and lead. In the boron family we have boron, aluminium, gallium, indium and thallium, Tl. So these were the elements that we have studied now. Although we have studied about group 3 to group 12 also, but these are not of our interest. That is why we are not mentioning them here. And these series which is lanthanoids and actinoids, will be important for us, but in further classes. In higher classes we will study all the blocks of the modern periodic table separately. Now let us see today's lecture's homework. So in the today's homework you have in-text questions of page number 90. Question number 1 is having 2 parts. Part A is lithium, sodium, potassium are all metals that react with the water to liberate hydrogen gas. Is there any similarity in the atoms of these elements? Part B of question number 1 is helium is an unreactive gas and neon is a gas of extremely low reactivity. What if anything do their atoms have in common? Question number 2 is in the modern periodic table which are the metals among the first 10 elements? Question number 3 is by considering their position in the periodic table, which one of the following element would you expect to have maximum metallic characteristic? Now let us see the lecture number 3 homework solutions. So question number 1 of lecture number 3 homework was how would the modern periodic table remove the various anomalies of Mendeley's periodic table? And the answer is here we have the anomalies which were there in the Mendeley's periodic table, and here we have the modern periodic table, whether this problem is sort out in the modern periodic table or not. So the first defect in the Mendeley's periodic table was position of hydrogen was not fixed. But as Mendeley's periodic table was based on the atomic masses, it gave priority to the atomic mass of the element. That is why the hydrogen position was not fixed. But in the modern periodic table, the basic law which was followed is that atomic number is more fundamental property, and that is why elements were arranged in the increasing order of their atomic numbers, and hence hydrogen was given as the first position. So this problem was fixed. Second defect in the Mendeley's periodic table was anomalous pairs. Means some of the pairs were there which were having a higher atomic mass element before the element which is having a lower mass. For example, cobalt and nickel. So this problem was also fixed in the modern periodic table because it arranged the elements according to the atomic numbers of elements. The third defect, which was dissimilar elements grouping, was there in the Mendeley's periodic table, but this was also sorted out in modern periodic table. Now the elements with similar properties were taken in a single group. Defect number 4 in the Mendeley's periodic table was the similar elements were separated. For example, gold and platinum. But this problem was fixed in the modern periodic table after the arrangement of the elements according to the increasing atomic number and the chemical properties shown by them. This problem was fixed. So we can say that most of the anomalies are fixed or removed in the modern periodic table. Question number 2 was name 2 elements you would expect to show chemical reactions similar to magnesium. What is the basis of your choice? And the answer is that I'll choose calcium and strontium, or the elements in the same group, because these are also having the same valence electrons in their outermost shell, and accordingly they will have the similar chemical properties. Question number 3 was A. 3 elements that have a single electron in the outermost shell. Single electron in the outermost shell can be in the group 1 only. So any 3 elements from the group 1 we can take. B. 2 elements that have 2 electrons in the outermost shell. That means any member from the group 2 we can take. Third, C. 3 elements with the filled outermost shells. So we know that only group 18 is the group which is having the elements with all the shells filled. So we can take any 3 halogens, noble gases from group number 18. So the answer to the first part of question number 3 is lithium, sodium, potassium, because they are having the electronic configuration in such a way that the valence electrons are 1 in number and they are from group 1. Question number 3, part number B. Magnesium and calcium we can take because both are having valence electrons 2 and they are from group number 2. Noble gases such as neon, argon and xenon can be taken because they have their outermost shells completely filled. So this is it for today. I'll be continuing the chapter and we'll be studying the trends in the modern periodic table in the next lecture. So till then, take care and goodbye.